Namaste, everyone. Very warm welcome to everyone. Thank you for being here. This is part four in the series of Mind Today, Purush Manas, a HSS UK Yuva webinar looking at various topics that impact mental health in the world today. Each session that we're doing is helping to break down issues, helping us to understand the key themes that draw on rich Hindu Sanskriti and our culture. We're trying to provide a Dharmic lens through which we can address and overcome all the challenges that we have. Um, so today is focusing on physical health and how that can be a pathway to better mental health. I think we all know deep down at some level that, if you're physically good and feeling well, mentally that's going to have a positive impact on you. And we've got three delightful individuals that are going to help us discuss exactly that. So we've got Amit Shah, Kedar Shukla, and Adarsh Bhatti, and I'll tell you their bios in just a moment. To give everyone the context and the way that we're going to be doing this, I'm opening up now. We'll ask each of our panelists to give us a short 5 minutes on this topic, why it's important to them, maybe why they're here. We'll go into a bit of a discussion, and we'll talk about various topics, and then we can open up for audience questions towards the end. If you've got questions along the way, drop them in the chat below. And if you want to send this link on to anyone else, absolutely welcome. It's not just for men, it's for everyone. So you pass this on to your significant others and partners. And the link I've just shared as well, you can see previous webinar sessions that we have recorded on various other topics. So let's get into it. First, I'll introduce Amit Shah, a client principal working for an American company in the digital transformation space, married to Meera and son Rohan. Started Shaka at the age of 4. That was only like 16 years ago. Held various responsibilities, the last of which was being a Kariwar of Pratap Shaka in Finchley. He's been to SSV 17 times, Mukhya Shikshak twice, and was also Mukhya Shikshak in South Africa, and has also done third year in Nagpur. Welcome to Amit. We'll move on to Adarsh, who is a transformational coach and the founder of Alpha Camp, working with high-performing men and women to lose fat, build muscle, reclaim their energy using a sustainable approach to training, nutrition, and mindset. Was an ex-recruitment director, has 2 children, and would rather be watching the Chelsea match right now. And then we have Kedarji, 45 years old, 3 kids, head of compliance for a hedge fund, Bodhik Shikshak in Croydon, and goes to Veer Abhimanyu Shaka. I know these 3 individuals very well. Probably lots of you on the call also do. So let's dive deep in. Gents, I'm going to pass the mic round. Like I said, 5 minutes. Why you're here, why this is important, maybe some top tips. Don't give too much away because we're going to get into a conversation. Amit, over to you.
Hi, namaste. Good evening to everyone. Um, so just a little bit about myself first and a bit of context, and some of you know me anyway. From a young age, I've always had a lot of energy, always had a keen interest in doing sport, playing any kind of games. When I was at school, I played cricket, football, rugby, hockey, you name it. And then over the years, I've just become more and more adventurous. As Sumit mentioned, I went to Shaka from a young age, from the age of 4. I'm 50 now. I just turned 50. And I suppose one of those things from going to Shaka gave me a lot of discipline and consistency in terms of my day-to-day life. I'm very competitive. I love competition. I play football still, squash, core. I played kabaddi. I like hiking, and I like to challenge myself on a regular basis. So, for example, I started Taekwondo in my 40s because my son was going. Unfortunately, I didn't get all the way to black belt, just one belt shy. I found it was causing too many injuries. Um, and I like to focus on my physical health because it's really supported me with my mental health. Some of you know this on the course, some of you don't. But my wife Mira, she was diagnosed with cancer 15 years ago. So when our son Ron was only 7 months old. So that in itself can be really challenging, not just on her, but you as a family and me as an individual, especially when that happened such a long time ago. And we've lived with it for 15 years. So as a result, mental health became more and more important, but finding ways to keep myself focused, and exercise was always something that I focused on. I was lucky to meet a group of friends. I started cycling just before COVID. Great from a physical perspective, but being out on the road and you just naturally talk to each other about everything and anything. It doesn't matter what it might be, but it's helped me to support myself, but support Mira and Vaughan through her illness as well. Um, but then as I started to approach 50, I noticed that I wasn't as fit as I used to be. I had a lot of injuries. Working from home from COVID, that middle spread started to grow a little bit, and I wasn't doing as much. And Mira kind of pointed it out in late 2023 that I was going in the opposite direction. And obviously, that can have an impact on your mind as well. So I luckily, and she hates me for this, on the 1st of January 2023, I was like, everything's got, no, sorry, 2024, everything's got to change. I think that was because of my mindset and having some consistency and discipline, what I ate, what I drank, what I did on a daily basis. I joined the gym. It's quite specific about the gym that I found, not a big corporate chain or anything like that, quite small. I started PT training and I said I want to get fit for 50. I lost about 8 to 9 kilos in weight to reduce my body fat, to change my diet. And last year I was doing things that I never thought I would do before. So I did 3 high competitions, um, not just for myself, but to inspire my son, people around me. Rohan came to see me do my solo just a few days after my 50th. And he got home and he said to Mira, if I can do that when I'm the same age as Papa at 50, I'll be more than happy with myself. So for me, it wasn't just about me, but it was about inspiring him. And he now uses that as his option to stay fit. And he said, right, when I turn 16, I want to do a doubles high rocks with you. So that in itself motivates me. Only tip I would give is, and we were talking about this just before, do what you're doing, do it for you, right? Don't compare yourself to anybody else that's next to you. You need to feel well in yourself and what is right for you to do, and something that you know that you can do in a consistent manner all the time. That's it, Sumit.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you for sharing lots of details there. We'll dive into some of those. Adarsh, passing over to you, please.
So my name's Adarsh. I run a transformational company called Alpha Camp, where we help people lose weight. I got into the industry just before COVID. I was a recruitment director for a company called Hayes for over a decade. Lost about 30 kilos in 2016, 2017, living that typical city life. And then unfortunately, I lost my brother when he was 36. So I used what I learned, all the discipline that I learned, losing the weight helped me mentally cope with that, and religion. Like the Holy Krishna movement, I heavily felt it, moved into that. I zoned in through my physical, using the mental as well, and it helped me massively. And then through that, I naturally transitioned into being a personal trainer and do this full time now because I know the impact of how you can dial in your nutrition, and using your physical can definitely help your mental state in a very, very positive way, especially post COVID when you are now potentially working more and more solo from home, and you've got all these snacks and stuff and you're just cooped up at home, you relax at home. It can have a more of a negative effect, what I found post COVID than pre COVID. So I'm here now helping people get to what they think is impossible. So helping people lose 20, 30 kilos, getting them to lose the weight, and then doing things like doing a high rocks or a marathon or anything like that, and then really dialing in their mindset and using the physical at the same time.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
No problem.
Kedar, let's have you next.
Namaste, everyone. So, leading a little bit on from what Amit Ji said, I actually did something of the opposite, to be honest with you. So, very conscious about the way I looked. I kind of tackled fitness from a I need to look good. Historically, that was always the thing. But going back to like 15, 16 years old, very skinny, never into sports just because I could never really play for any extended period of time. Never kind of manage to hold the weight. that was a big thing for me, putting on weight. I know a lot of people generally focus around losing weight, but for me, it was always trying to put on weight. And then I used fitness as a way to find friends, actually. It was companionship because I didn't have many friends growing up. I've never had many kind of close friends. And fitness was a way for me to find that friendship. So I had some people that were into fitness like I was. So it became, we used to go for runs together, we'd go swimming together, and then we'd go and hit the weights. And then weights became a thing. That was like, I had gym bros, basically. I was a gym bro. I would go and throw some weights around and kind of, have a bit of a laugh with people. My life became protein shakes and kind of, all of that stuff and, creatine and going in and kind of lifting as much weight as possible. And I'm sure we'll come on to it. But born and raised a vegetarian. I went vegan 8.5, nearly 9 years ago now, I think. Made the transition through watching some videos on social media and kind of understanding what it takes to kind of make some of these dairy products. And I was like, right, I'm done. Once I saw it on social media, I was out. But yeah, that's been the journey. But fitness has always been a long-standing thing that I've pursued. Weights was always a thing, but then as Amit you mentioned, you get kind of to a certain age. I'm 45 now. And 3, 4 years ago, I was like, right, okay, it's all well and good having the muscle, but I need to have the flexibility as well. And that wasn't there. So I had the foresight to say I need to start doing something. And 3, 4 years ago, I took up gymnastics at the ripe age of 42. I was like, right, I need to get into gymnastics. So I took it up, started going gymnastics once a week, and it did wonders for me. Improved my flexibility, improved my technique, and I was able to actually transition into lifting weights with much better form, much better technique, etc., etc. So. And I'm very spiritual. So just talking from the mental health side of things, spirituality has always been a long-standing thing that I've followed. My family's very kind of very spiritual from that perspective, but there was more the ritualistic side of things. I've taken more of the spiritual side, so more kind of meditation and sitting and kind of doing practice on a daily basis. So that's helped a lot. So the combination of having the flexibility and then working to kind of build more muscle, but then also having that mental stability to be able to tackle kind of things that happen on a daily basis. I mean, I'm privileged enough to not have had such life shocking kind of events that Amit and Adarsh have had so far, but who knows what tomorrow is going to bring. But thankfully, we try and keep ourselves in a good enough state that we can kind of tackle the obstacles when they come up.
Awesome. Thank you all. Thank you all for sharing and, being vulnerable also with picking up on what Kedar he's just said there. Things happen in life and we've got to be prepared for them as much as we can, but also, channel some of those events and scenarios and situations to become who we want to be. And like I've got so many different angles we could start going at this, but I think I want to pick on one at the start is diet and nutrition. So Kedar, you said there, you turn vegan, you watch something online about dairy industry. I think people have it hard enough trying to get the protein intake on a vegetarian diet, and you've done that on a vegan diet. How did you go about that? What was most challenging? Can you give any tips to anyone? And then Adarsh, maybe you could help with this question as well. Some of the clients out there probably have quite strict regimes that they need to stick to.
So I mean, others should maybe correct me when I when I do this, but from my perspective, at least, because I was on, I guess, the lesser treaded path of trying to make sure I put on weight as opposed to kind of lose weight. Carbs were definitely not the enemy for me. I've always kind of had loads of carbs. That's never been a problem for me. But protein, it always felt like a bit of a myth to me. You need to get enough protein in. As from my perspective, it was as long as you're getting the right nutrition, then, I mean, if you're kind of overdoing in protein, and I've been down that road before, when I was a vegetarian, before when I first started my kind of weightlifting journey, I was, like I said, I was a gym bro. It was like all about the whey protein shakes. And I had so much protein, I just got massively constipated, to be completely honest. I was completely backed up. I had no idea what I was doing. I was like, right, just get the protein in. And I didn't realize that actually you need fiber and you need water to be able to balance it. Otherwise, your system is just going to block up, right? And that's what happened to me. And then it took time for me to realize that actually a balanced diet is way more important. So yes, of course, protein is important, but I mean, you need the carbs, and fats are not the enemy. It's about getting the right fats. From a vegan perspective, I mean, tofu is a staple in my diet. It doesn't give you man boobs. clear that up from the outset. It's phytoestrogen as opposed to the other type of estrogen, so there's no problems there. You're not going to start crying. It's completely different type of estrogen. But tofu, tempeh, broccoli. Majority of things have protein in them. It's just a question of looking at the nutritional information of what you're consuming. And then once you can get yourself into a good state of, okay, I need X number of carbs, and I look at things from a macronutrients perspective. So carbs, fats, and proteins. And if you kind of see on an average basis and importantly, when you're first doing it, look at what you're eating now. Your ground level is very important. Most people just say, okay, well, what do I need to eat? It's okay, well, what are you eating now? Because if your current state is, I'm eating this many carbs, this much fat, and this much protein, then okay, that's where you're working from. Okay, well, maybe my carbs are too high. Then you reduce your carbs a little bit and slightly increase your protein, and then see how that goes
Sure,
for a while. And things take 8 to 12 weeks to kind of balance out anyway. So,
sure.
that's what I've done. But
Adarsh, you must see so many different variations of this with people and their diets and what they're eating. And me and you have had a lot of conversations about this
Yeah.
as well, tracking calories and, MyFitnessPal and everything. Like, what are you seeing out there and how, what guidance are you giving people when it
I
comes to
think
diet?
I think what Kedar has said is spot on, right? Protein is great, but for me, with the clients that we've worked with, it's very specific to each individual, right? Because some people can't stomach it as much as what social media tells you, like 2 grams per pound and stuff. If you're a vegan, vegetarian, you can't stomach it. So what I find works well for our clients is feedback. Some people naturally, when we've worked with vegetarian and vegan clients, it is naturally a higher carbohydrate diet. It just is, right? Because there's only so much fake like corn or whey protein you can naturally eat before your stomach and it gets backed up. So for me, it's understanding what works for you. Because some people can tolerate a high protein diet being vegetarian, vegan. Other people can't. My wife, Deepa's a vegetarian. She doesn't touch whey protein. She can't even have one shake. She'll have a headache straight away. So this is why it's very, very important your body is your best feedback. So you should never go on anyone's guidance. Like before there was tracking calories, we were human beings. I say this to clients all the time. Like eat something, see how you feel. Do you feel more energized? Then that's good. If you feel sluggish and you can't, and you're having a 3 p.m. slump, guess what? That's your body's feedback to say that food is not good for you. It's like I try to simplify nutrition very, very to a basic level for all my clients. Start off with a good baseline, and then that's where you coach someone and say, okay, how do you feel? How does that work? Are you seeing results? Are you getting stronger? Da, 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 da. And that's what you need to do. Just start with the basics, like what you eat, what you can do. Like if you're trying to lose weight, start off with the foods that everyone knows in 2026, you know what's good and bad. There's so much information there. If you don't know what's good or bad, then it's just there's a bit of us that plays a bit ignorance, right?
And it needs to be sustainable as well, right,
Yeah.
Adarsh? At the end of the day, there's no point going on some silly crash diet that you can't maintain for a long
I
period.
always question sustainability.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
my take on it, right? I think if you're trying to lose fat, you need to do it as quick as possible, as that individual can. The sustainability part needs to come from the foods that you enjoy, right? Because if you can follow the food that you enjoy, you're going to be able to stick to the diet and get to your goal.
But
That's where the food taste needs to come. But the reality is your body doesn't want to diet. It's always going to fight to get you to a level of place of homeostasis. That's why people find it hard to diet, because they do something too extreme.
well, I like aloo parathe, man. Sanjay D as well. He's been telling me this
Of course,
the
but
gobi
still, as you know, if you
parathe.
can track it, if you can track your calories, you can still have your aloo paratha, mate.
Yeah. I think Kedar mentioned it, right? It's about having a balanced diet. And you got to get your fibers in. You get what you need to get in. And the other key point that Adarsh made is food is there to also give you energy. If it starts to make you feel rubbish, then that means there's something fundamentally wrong with it, right? And different things work for different people, right? I do intermittent fasting. It works for me, right? I can train on an empty stomach because my body's tuned to work on an empty stomach. I know if I get up in the morning, I have breakfast, and I go to train, I will feel sick halfway through, right? Some people will need something in the morning to get them going so they can go and train and do a run. I'll get on the bike and I'll go and run 40 Ks without eating anything, cycle 40 Ks. So it's about getting that balance, what works for you. I think others just mentioned it. crash diet is probably one of the worst things that you can do because you haven't got that consistency and sustainability of what you're doing on a daily basis. And for me, this has been a journey for the last 2 years,
Mm.
right? It wasn't about what I can do in a 3 month period or a 6 month period. It's what can you achieve for a long period of time, but then be able to do it consistently every day, every week, right? And that's what you got to think about. A lot of people start and then they fall off because they can't maintain the goals that they set themselves because they're so far stretched, and it becomes more and more difficult to manage.
I think we need to
Yeah.
restructure as well. Even the word diet itself has so many negative connotations to it. Like it's a diet, that your diet is what you eat on a daily basis. That's what it is. That's your diet. So you don't have to go on a diet. It's a thing that you've kind of, people have said, oh, I'm going on a diet. What does that mean? It just means you're changing what you eat. Okay, so then change what you eat. And if you're going on a crash diet, how is that ever going to be good for your mental health, right? I mean, we're here talking about mental health. If you're doing something that's suddenly going to kind of impact you, that's never going to be something that you can sustain on a long period of times, and it's going to affect you mentally. Because then it'll affect your energy levels, it'll affect your physical levels, it'll affect everything. And as a result, it's going to affect your mental levels, right? So, and if you're feeling, I mean, rubbish because your diet's not giving you enough nutrition and kind of energy to be okay, then how are you going to want to train anyway?
I hear everything that you're saying, but I just, there are some people out there that have been very large for a long part of their life. And I think, and maybe I can be corrected here, for them, shedding that 10 kilos in 10 weeks, whilst maybe is unsustainable long term, can do wonders for them to set them up on their goal.
But it
Because
can't
they've
be
never lost
shedding
that
in
weight
10
before.
weeks though, right? It can be, my goal is to shed that amount of weight, but why does it have to be fixed that I need to shed it in 10 weeks? If you're working towards a goal, then that's fine. Okay, well, I'm getting married or I need to go to this event. Okay, but set realistic goals to say, okay, I'm going to shed this amount of time, because otherwise it's not sustainable. You can say,
Don't
you can
know.
have a crash diet to say, okay, over the next 10 weeks, this is my goal, but then it's going to be this. Okay, but then it's fine. That's a different matter. But
So, me, I think part of it's also understanding, and I'm sure Adarsh must get a lot of this is what's triggered that person mentally in the first place to say that I want to lose 10 kilos or I want to lose 25 kilos, right? And that's where your mental health bit comes in. Because if it's something negative that's happened, and what I'm tending to see a lot at the moment is that they've had a bad result or because they've gone to see the GP, they've had a bad health impact on themselves, or somebody has, and I think Adarsh mentioned this, right? Somebody close to them has had some kind of illness, a stroke or heart attack. And I see this more now at my age of 50, or friends that are around about that age. Something happens to somebody that they know and it triggers it. It's about understanding that trigger, but what is mentally right for you and who do you seek that advice from? And we were talking about this before everybody joined. You can look at TikTok, you can look at Instagram, you can look at social media. It's your ability to really listen to the stuff that is the right stuff, because a lot of stuff on there which is probably negative or not right for you. So seeing someone like Adarsh
Mm,
who's trained and who's done that will give you that advice. But it's understand that mental trigger, but then how do you set your mind to then sustain you for that period of time? And
mm,
losing 10 kilos is not a joke, right? And maths are simple. The more calories you eat, the more weight you're going to put on.
yeah.
Doesn't matter what you eat, right? I can bulk up and eat 4,000 calories a day with lots of protein. I'm going to keep on putting on weight, right?
sure.
It's a simple
Let's
equation from a maths perspective.
Makes sense. Let's switch gears. We could talk about diet and nutrition all day long. Um, a key theme, I think all of us have spoken about it so far, is this discipline. And I think for a lot of people coming from the Sung background, yeah, I've got discipline when I go to Shaka, but will it stop me putting down a packet of crisps or picking up that chocolate bar? And I mean, it's for everyone, right? Whatever they say, pick your poison. Um, Advice, tips, guidance, stories, like how do you instill discipline in yourself to stay healthy, and to get that physical fit. There are plenty of times where I don't want to run, but I'll put the shoes on, I'll go out and do it, and all of a sudden I've done my second best PB, like crazy. I can't believe it myself sometimes. But what do you guys think?
I think
Discipline.
Amit has mentioned it already, to be honest with you, because it's about that mental trigger. And I think that from obviously discipline doesn't come just from whatever, right? So a lot of people say that, okay, well, I need to pay for a personal trainer or I need to kind of pay for the gym membership because that payment and that kind of sacrifice of something is what encourages me to go to the gym. Okay, sure, that'll last for a period of time, but as many people as I've seen do that, I have equally seen so many other people that continually pay for the gym and still don't go. So that if that's your trigger, that I just need to pay, then eventually that'll die. It has to come from you, right? What is the reason that you want to lose the weight? And if that's strong enough for you to say, I want to lose it for me, then that's where the change will come, right? And that's where your discipline comes in. If it means that you need somebody on the journey with you, like I said to you, right? I was looking for friends, so I looked for companionship, and I had friends that were equally, I mean, the guy that I used to train with, he was like probably 10, 20 kilos overweight. But he wanted to lose weight. I wanted to put on weight. But we found camaraderie in the fact that we both wanted to kind of pursue fitness for different reasons, but then find whatever it is. But it has to come from you, right? It can't be somebody else telling you. And that, I think, links to, I think, one of the questions I saw pop up in terms of spirituality and your inner kind of voice. If you listen to yourself, why do you want to lose the weight and where is that coming from? That can lead to kind of discipline. I mean,
that can.
guys.
It sounds very utopic, Kailaji, and I agree. It sounds great, but that's hard work, man. Some people need to uncover years of trauma or this underlying belief that they're not worth it or
But
they
then you need
can't
to
do it.
start uncovering it, right? And the journey starts with you.
So let me answer that question, right? And I'll say this openly. And we were talking about mental health. So it's important to understand your why. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to go and seek some kind of counseling, right? So I've had counseling. I've seen a clinical psychologist, right? But a lot of stuff to deal with. I've gone and kind of done that. And I've opened and talked about it publicly. What I see a lot of people do at the moment, and like Kedar, I've got gym bros now. I've got cycling bros. It's nice when I turn up to the gym and my mates are there and we kind of train together. But sometimes people need someone to keep them accountable as well. You don't necessarily need to pay for that accountability. If you can find a couple of friends and you create a little group and you kind of keep in touch with each other, it kind of helps, right? Because you're checking in with each other on a daily basis or a weekly basis. Eating chocolate is fine. Don't eat the rubbish. Get some nice 70, 85% dark chocolate. If you fancy a piece of chocolate, have a piece of chocolate, right? It is really hard to kind of do what you kind of need to do. And you want some real tips, Sumit? Don't keep that rubbish chocolate in the house. Don't have those crisp packets in the house, right? And I think Adarsh mentioned it earlier, right? You can sit at home, you can grab the snacks, you can go to the drawer. If it's there, you'll pick it up, you'll have it, and you'll eat it, right? But sometimes the hard part is don't have the stuff in the house in the first place, right?
Adarsh, what do you see with people? Again, we've had this conversation between us two a lot. What do you see out there?
With the discipline side, right? For me, I think Amit said it briefly, right? You have to start with your why because everyone's why is different, right? Start with that, and then it's something that has to be built over a period of time, if that makes sense. When you look for short-term fixes of thinking, right, I'm going to start on Monday and then Friday you fail again, you have to see this as a long-term journey. You have to, like, at every stage of fitness, it will evolve. Like I've seen it since I've been into my fitness. It's changed and changed and changed, and your disciplines will change. You'll have kids come, kids will get older, kids taste buds will change, and then they'll want to explore different foods, and then you'll be battling mentally. Oh, how do I stay disciplined? And you think you need to stay in this box, but you need to evolve, right? And that's where your discipline needs to start with your why individually. Like if you're trying to lose fat, lose the fat and then understand, right, now is the time for maintenance and just learn how to maintain and reestablish yourself with food, right? But it's a very big subject, right? Because everyone has a different relationship with food. Like when I was growing up, I'd have two Rotleys, but down the shark and everything, and my bar would come with blue top milk, the glass ones. I was born in the 80s and saying, bloody drink that. I'd have to neck half a pint of blue top milk, right? She said you need to have big bones. So I grew up with the feeling of constantly having that, like, feeling full. So every time I ate in my teens and when I got older and you get married, you're chasing that feeling of feeling full. So then you don't know what satisfied feels like because you've never had that for 10, 15 years. So then what does discipline look for that person? Does that make sense? So it's about retraining yourself and saying, okay, where does my discipline start? Where do I want to get to? And then slowly either having an accountability group with friends or seeking professional guidance or whatever it is, or having that family unit there. And like Amit said, not like the best thing you can do if you know certain foods trigger you, don't have them in the house.
Yeah, that's
That's
fair.
it.
No, I
You have to
understand that.
start discipline somewhere, but it's very, very individual for each person. Like
Mm.
But be
where you may
flexible with
see
yourself
someone
as well, though,
start
right?
really, really quickly, like it may take someone, the same person,
Mm,
5 years to build the same discipline where it took someone else 6 months, but you're both at the same stage.
yeah.
So the biggest thing I would say to anyone listening, don't ever compare yourself to anyone. Compare
Mm.
yourself to who you were last year and just say, am I progressing according to where I want to be? Just for
And
your own mental health. That's the biggest thing that I would say. Because when you start comparing, especially with social media now, it's quite easy to compare yourself to someone else, but you don't see their other lives, their other challenges, their kid demands, and if they've got kids in their home life and stuff like that. So just start with your why is what I would say, and just say, right, where's the end goal? And then just constantly work towards it and don't kick yourself if you fall over hurdles. Just get back up and keep trying.
That's a good point.
and
You know, people, I think we can be quite harsh on ourselves. You know, I remember I was going through my journey, had, you know, a burger and chips one Friday night, felt crap about it, but I swear, felt really crap about it. And then you go down on that spiral and you start sinking further and further. I guess maybe some of my question was trying to understand when you're on that downward spiral, when things aren't going your way, when, I don't know, you lost your job or whatever, you know, things happen in life. How do you get out of that? How do you build your character mentally to go out and do that run or go and lift those weights or go to the gym when it's
I,
really, really tough?
it is tough. And I think where I've seen people fail is that they've set themselves unrealistic goals.
Mm.
You can't all of a sudden say, go from not going to the gym and saying, right, I'm going to be at the gym at 5 o'clock every single morning, right? You might sustain that for 2 or 3 weeks, but you can't sustain it every day, right? And I get asked a question all the time, how do you fit it in, right? Where do you find the time? You're married, you've got a kid, you're working and everything else. And I think others just meant it, right? So just mentioned it. You've got to find a plan and a routine that works for you, right? And if you need someone to help you work that out, like a professional like Adarsh does, then that's what you kind of need to do. But it's got to work for you. And the reason why people fail is that they set unrealistic goals. You know, I'm going to stop drinking. So I've gone from not from drinking every day or every weekend, and now all of a sudden that's it. I'm going to cut it out. It takes a certain type of person and mentality and discipline to kind of be able to do that. So setting realistic goals is probably the one piece of advice I would give that that you can keep to,
You got to be
right? For
flexible
so,
as well, though, right? I mean, I would definitely say that. Like in terms of my fitness journey, when I first got married, the gym was at work. I would go at lunchtime, so it was fine. Then changed jobs, so there wasn't a gym. I wasn't able to go at lunchtime, so then it became an evening thing, and I'd go every evening. So I'd get home from work, have dinner, blah blah blah, and lucky enough to not have what Amit said. I'm okay going to the gym on a full stomach, so I'd go to the gym in the evening. But then I'd leave for the gym at like 8 and I won't get back till like 10:30, whatever it is, because I'm with the gym bros. I'm lifting weights. So, and then I come home again. And then that went on for like 6 months or so. And then my wife was like, I never see you. So then I was like, okay,
Mm.
well, I need to change something again. So then it became, okay, well, I need to find some other time to go to the gym. Then it became home workouts, just kind of trying to do whatever I could. Then I had to change that again because then the house changed. So we're like, okay, well, and then kids came along, everything changed. And then I was like, okay, now I had to go first thing in the morning. Now I have to wake up at 5 to get to the gym in the morning because it's important to me. And that's something that I want to do. So that's me time now. So I have to do it. But then I have to be flexible enough to kind of change it constantly, right? It's not like, oh, I can't go in the evening anymore. Okay, forget it. Pack it all in now. I can't go to the gym anymore. So I have to do something else. This is why, going back to what Amit said initially, finding your why and why you want to do it in the first place, putting yourself in that right headspace of saying, this is what I want to do and this is my long-term goal, then you adjust based on whatever life throws at you to try and adjust your schedule or your routine so that you can make it work for you. Food, the same thing, right? My wife would cook whatever she's cooking, or my mom was coming to stay with us, and then it was like Others said, right? I'm having dar bhat shak rotli every day. I'm like, this is not working with my goals, but you got to adapt. Okay, fine. I'm going to have that for dinner, and I'm going to change my breakfast completely. I'm going to have a protein shake for breakfast because then your diet is over time as well, right? It's not just what you eat in that one day. It's what you've eaten over the week that kind of matters. So
Mm.
adjust and be flexible with yourself.
Mm. Okay, let's talk about sleep. I think as men, sometimes we feel we have to sacrifice something along the way to support the family, to support wife, kids, whatever we need to do. So we eat into our sleep. Maybe we go sleep too late, or we're getting up early. How important is sleep? Who's getting the right amount of sleep? Has anyone mastered it?
I think you just read my mind. I was just about to say there's one thing we haven't spoken about is sleep. Um, and um, I changed that at the beginning of 2024. Did a lot of reading, looked around it, all that kind of stuff. And mine and Mira's patterns are totally different. She'll stay up late and she won't get up early in the morning. But also, I've had to manage her getting up early in the morning because of her illness as well. So, for me, what's worked is the consistency of sleep, right? So, I aim to go to sleep around about the same time every night, give or take 15 minutes to half an hour, and get up at the same time every day. My only lie-in is on a Saturday or Sunday morning, and that's till 7:30. But I found that if I can sleep consistently every day, around about 10:30, and get up at about 6, quarter past 6, do that 5 days a week, I'm all good. That's when my body rests, it grows, my mind is fresh in the morning. But again, it goes back to me. All three of us have mentioned this, right? All goes back to your discipline, right? I have to go up. So, right, Mira, you can stay here and watch whatever you want. I'm going to sleep. See you later. I'm off to bed. Um, it's your ability to kind of do that. There is a bit of flexibility, right? You go to events and so on. You might sleep a little bit later. I think you can bank sleep if you want to, but it's probably not a good idea to bank sleep if you want to have a heavy weekend. But for me, consistency of sleep has been really important.
Mm. Anyone else want to chip in there? I mean, I'm struggling. My daughter's 18 months. My sleep's all over the place right now. Every night this week, 2:30 to 4:30, I've been awake. And
That's
Happens.
bound to happen, right? It's bound to happen. I mean, I had
Okay,
kids
Adarsh.
consistently 2 years in a row, 3 times, right? So it was just for the like 6, 7 years in a row. I just basically didn't feel like I was sleeping. But I
yeah.
mean, it happens. You just kind of you have to adapt to it as best you can, right? 8 hours as a minimum is definitely something that's required. If you want to see consistent growth, I'm sure Adarsh will tell you. If you're not getting 8 hours and you're trying to put in all the work that you want, because your body grows when you sleep, right? So if you're trying to put on muscle, then you need to sleep because that's when I mean, you don't start growing muscles while you're walking around, otherwise randomly your hand would kind of pop out, right? You only grow when you're sleeping. So you need to get that rest in. But I mean, discipline is important, sure. But I mean, Amit said he only lion he has is on Saturday at 7:30. I don't know what he's talking about. That's not a lion. That's not lions are like 11 for me, and that happens. It happens rarely. I get it like once a month, but that's important. Where I get that rest. And like, okay, once in a while, like I'll tell my wife and kids like, don't disturb me. I need to sleep because I've had it. But you need to listen to your body, right? I mean, I think we've all mentioned that your body is the best signifier of what's going on. So if you're eating something and you don't feel right, listen to your body. If you're really tired and you're trying to push through constantly, you're gonna break after a while, right? So I mean, mentally and then physically too. So,
But like, isn't that what men sometimes do? They
oof,
become martyrs of their own experience. They don't know any other way.
I think that comes with maturity, right? Um, and you can wear all sorts of devices to monitor your sleep and everything else, right? But nothing's going to tell you better than your own body in the morning
Mm.
when you wake up and like, oh, you know what? I was going to go to the gym today, but my body's not feeling great. I'm not going to do it. And that's an acceptance piece,
yeah.
right? And no one needs to be a martyr. I'm sorry, but maybe my maturity and my mindset has changed over the last so many years, and it's kind of like, you know what? I'm not here to be a martyr anymore. I know what's important to me. I know what's important for me to keep my family going. Listen to your body,
Mm,
whatever it might be, whatever you're eating, whatever you're drinking, however you're sleeping. If you don't feel great in the morning, if your body's not right, it will tell you. It's
mm,
nothing better than your body telling you. I tried, and others you probably get a lot. I tried a Whoop band for a month.
Mm,
It didn't tell me anything I didn't know.
yeah.
mm.
I
The
needed to sleep
biggest,
more. I needed to rest more. I needed to drink more water.
I went
I
into a
think,
fancy like a skincare shop. And I was like, tell me how to get rid of these dark circles. And she was like, I can sell you all the cream in the world, the most expensive one out there, but it is not better than Mother Nature. She was like, you need to sleep. I was like, man, just give me a cream. Just get... You
I
have
think
to
the
sleep.
biggest, I think the biggest thing I say to clients, and I hope people find this helpful, right, is a lot of people are very concerned with the morning routine.
Mm.
The one thing I drum into my clients' heads is an evening routine.
Mm,
Is very, very important because in this day and age, everything is fighting against us. Like from working from home, I think is very, my personal opinion, I think is very detrimental for your mental health, right? And then you've got these things. Like you can
mm,
sit into bed and just be aimlessly scrolling, and then you're constantly wired and you never switch off. So then people right now, you don't get a restful sleep. You wake up and you just look at this quickly, or you get a notification. So the biggest advice I have for people is like two really key things, right? Try not to eat at least 2 to 3 hours before bed, right? The closer you eat to bed, like you're not going to sleep properly. Cut down like your water intake, and then try not to have any screen time at least an hour before bed. Start unwinding properly, and then there is certain supplements like magnesium and stuff that you can take to help initiate a deeper sleep as well. So things like that. But like Amit said, right? Like I have the same thing. Dippa, my wife, she's a night owl, right? I go to this same time bed, 10 to 10:30. I'm up between 5:30 and 6:30 every single day. Like having that same consistency really, really, really does pay off. But having a nighttime routine and then maybe sitting down with your household and the whole household adopting that as well, so they work with you rather than against you, because it can be quite when you've got young kids. Like I've got a 15-year-old and a 10-year-old. Come Friday night, my son wants to stay up until 12 o'clock, right? Because it's Friday, right? And he just wants to be a teenager. But it's just having that as a household, just saying, okay, what is our sleep time and wake time? Because it's only going to benefit everyone in the house rather than everyone fighting against each other. And try not to have a TV in your bedroom as well.
exactly. You touched on it at the end. I was going to say, I'm sure you've heard it all of you have heard it before, but no devices in the bedroom. You've got no excuse. Don't give me that nonsense about, oh, I use my phone to set my alarm. It's like you can get an alarm clock for like 2.99. It doesn't matter. One of those little ones that you have to hit on top. It doesn't matter. If you need an alarm clock, buy an alarm clock. Don't put your phone in your room. I
Or
mean,
have a
it's
kid.
massive. Yeah, or that.
I
A lot
want
more
to
expensive
switch.
than
It's
an
a
alarm
very
clock.
expensive alarm clock.
Exactly.
Kedar, you mentioned this earlier about becoming a gym bro, and we had to go back and forth on the picture we picked for the poster for yourself. Let's talk a little bit about that. Like, and I think there was a question in the chat as well about, and a few of us have mentioned it, like social media. You see all these six packs, all these big guns, everything. One of the questions someone asked about, how do I get big guns? Um, like in terms of our goals, our objectives, looking up to people, being a gym bro, having that physical aesthetic, and maybe not having other things in balance, what can that do for your mental health? Like, where is it when when the balance tips out of kilter? And not the constipation, all that kind of stuff, but mentally,
Yeah.
how is that a problem? When is that a problem? What are the early signs to fix that?
So social media is obviously massive. It's taken over our lives, right? So, I mean, there is so much out there, and AI is massive. So, I mean, don't believe everything you see, first and foremost. A lot of people are not the way they look on social media. But I was definitely, sucked into it, posting pictures all the time and kind of looking at that particular aesthetic. And that's why specifically, and I know we've discussed it already with Sumit, but I was like, that's a conversation piece. I wanted to pick that picture because I chased it, right? And I got the physique that I wanted, but at that stage, the picture that's used, I had like 9% body fat, but my life was literally the gym. Every single day, I was weighing all of my food. The gym literally dictated my entire life. I had nothing else. I didn't have time for anything else. And sleep was like, okay, at that time, literally, I'm in bed. It doesn't matter. Whatever's going on, I didn't go to parties. I didn't go out anywhere. There was no drinking. There was nothing, literally nothing but the gym. And then, I mean, how are you ever going to have a fulfilled life when you've only got one thing in there? It's not possible, right? But I was too swayed into that. And it's not wrong to have goals. I don't think there's anything that we can say, oh, don't aim for a six pack or don't aim for, 15-inch biceps. If that's what you want to do, and that's what your focus is, then as Amit mentioned before, your body's quite simple in terms of nutrition in and the weight that you're lifting. You've progressive overload in terms of weights will get you more muscle. It's going to happen. If you're getting enough rest, you're getting enough sleep, and you're having good nutrition, and then you're consistently, progressively overloading the weights, then you will build muscle. Your body's a simple machine. But then what is the end goal there? Are you trying to get on stage? Are you trying to do something? Because technique is really important as well. And if you're not looking at your technique and you're just lifting for the sake of lifting, then it's kind of ego lifting, and then your head's not in it.
Right.
And then
So
that can lead to a lot of problems, right?
so
Then,
so
go on.
sorry, with the ego, right? And I think this is where I'm trying to get at is, can men use exercise as a mask, and shift all their mental challenges into the gym, into the weights, into doing other things? I know a few of us have spoken about how it's helped them. Is there a danger? I mean, Adarsh, do you see that with your clients as well, where going to the gym too much? Is that a thing?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think it's a very positive thing with all the vices in the world right now.
Mm,
I think it's a good thing. If you run in the morning and go to the gym in the evening and you do a bit of yoga twice a day, I don't think there's nothing wrong with it.
As long as
okay.
you're having a balanced life as well. That's the only caveat I'd say. 100% I agree with you, others, but as long as that's not your entire life, if that's all you want to do, then that's fine. As long as
The
that's
only thing
something
I
you've
would say on
chosen
that,
to do, right?
everyone's different. Everyone's
Mm,
balance is different. My
Yeah,
balance is
mm,
different to Amit's, is balanced to yours.
yeah,
I have to train every day. Doesn't mean I'm going to lift weight every day. I might go into the gym, just do some sunya namaskar, do some stretching, go on the treadmill for 10 minutes and leave. But
yeah.
I'll need to do something physical every day to get my mindset in the right place.
Yeah.
Mm,
So I'm
That's
I'm
that,
I'm with others. Yeah, I'm the
that
same
that's
with
it.
others, right? It's about I focus on full body conditioning. So mine doesn't involve going to the gym 7 days a week and lifting
Mm.
weights, right? There's as you get older, you need to think about your heart, right? Your VO2 max, your strength. Kedar, you talked about flexibility. So I do hot yoga once a week. I run once or twice a week. I go to the gym and do full body functioning. I do a couple of weight training sessions. And then when the weather gets better, I'll be out on the bike again. So what I'm looking at is not for the six pack. What I'm looking at is staying at the right weight that's right for me, keeping a sensible amount of body fat, right? Be careful when you look at your BMI, right? Because you
Mm.
could be quite muscly and that makes you a bit heavier for your age and size and weight. Your BMI becomes a bit irrelevant then, right? Um, but you need to think about what it is that you want to be able to do as you get older, right? So for me, it's I still want to beat my son in a race. I want to be able to go hiking as I get older and hit my late 50s and 60s. I don't want to get to that age and I can't do the stuff that I want to do now. So that what is your, again, why and what is your focus? We talk about this all the time. If you just want to sit at home and watch TV once you retire, that's fine. You can do that. You don't need to go to the gym. You can just sit at home and watch sofa. But if you want to travel the world, go on holiday, do stuff, your body needs to be in a shape to do that.
mm.
That's to look after yourself, but also to look after your loved ones around you. Um, and we hear that all the time, right? Old people, why do they fall over? Why do they break their hips? They don't have balance, they don't have strength, right? Because they haven't got the balance, haven't got the strength, they fall over, they injure themselves. And it's taking all that into consideration in terms of what you are preparing yourself for as you get older.
Listen, I still attend Shaka every Friday, and you see the state of kind of a lot of the men that are attending Shaka, and a lot of them struggle to do Surya Namaskars. They struggle to do 5 push-ups. Now, if that's where you want to be in kind of that age, then keep
I
doing what
don't
you're
I don't
doing.
think they
Look at
want to
No,
be
no, no.
there.
I don't mean it from that perspective. I'm saying set yourself a goal from now, and then say, okay, well, in 10 years' time, if I look exactly the same way as I do now, am I comfortable with that? If you're
Mm,
not, then start doing something today to change that. Because we
mm.
can all be role models in society, right? For whatever reason. But you need to make that decision to say, where do you want to be? And that's going back to your why. If you find that and then you kind of look at yourself in the mirror and be honest with yourself, am I comfortable with the way I look? And would I be okay in 10 years' time if I look the same or slightly, more, whichever way it is, right? Slightly thinner or slightly fatter. What do I want to achieve? And then work towards that and going to Shark on a regular basis, then that becomes, because I have that discipline and I'm able to kind of instill that in me, that allows you to then inspire others to do it too. right? By going to Shaka, and I'm
Mm.
sure the same with everybody, that all of us that attend Shaka, then you kind of you see it, and then other people see you like, how do you do it? And then you can encourage other people to kind of take steps
Mm.
too.
So I think this is a good point. I think around Sangaton, and you kind of mentioned that you were looking for friends and you sort of got gym bros. And look, it's February, right? The Surya Namaskar Yagna, or whatever we're calling it these days, is going on. Important to do. There's apps now that we can start logging this stuff and compare, and we've got grand totals. It goes into the tens of thousands nationally. So yeah, forming that community, and I think I've got all of you on Strava. And in fact, there was a point where Strava was my favorite social media app. I'd want to see what people have got up to, all their runs, and their, how much they've cycled. And Amiji cycled past my house and still not knocked on my door, and all those kind of things in between. Look, we're coming. This has gone quickly. We're coming up to the end. There are a few questions in the chat. If you want to pick one out, you can sort of pick it out and answer it. But what I'm asking of each of you is to summarize, surmise, educate, give some pointers, and I guess the reason you're all on the panel is you've achieved or you do well, and you've got a hold on all this. But I just want you to think about maybe those that don't, right? And mentally maybe are not so strong. They don't have the discipline. Maybe they're tuning in because this is the last hope for them, or they've been trying to lose weight for 15 years, or they don't think they have a problem, but they've got a large gut, and doing 5 press ups is not something they aspire to think about. And maybe just give your views on that for a few minutes each, please.
I'll start. I think the best advice that I ever got, and I'll give it to everybody that's listening to, is make one small change and then be consistent with it, regardless of what that change is, but make that change and be kind of solid about it. So if it's like you said, okay, maybe 5 push-ups is not the thing, then okay, I'm going to do 2 push-ups a day. But then that 2 push-ups a day in a year's time will have made such an insurmountable change in you, you won't even be able to see it. But that's a small thing that you can do. So put that in. That's my one piece of advice. And the other thing in terms of social media, I definitely wanted to say it. Social media is the food that your mind consumes. So just be really careful about what you're feeding your mind. If you choose to follow certain people, then at least you're choosing what's on your plate in terms of your mental food. If you're scrolling, you're not even choosing what you eat. So you have no idea. The algorithm is going to feed you whatever it wants to feed you. So just be really careful with social media. Limit it as much as you can. I mean, I just came off Insta, but yeah. So one small change and be careful with social media. Those are my tips.
Awesome, thank you. Adarshi?
I would start off with one thing and two things, sorry, right? If you could do anything to just do anything, is number one, walk more. Yeah, I think everyone can do that. I think the benefits of that is absolutely incredible, and hydrate yourself more. Those two things will be game changing for anyone's health, because I think the vast majority of us, even myself, at certain times are dehydrated. When dehydrated, you'll think you're hungry and then you'll just eat more and walk more. Those two things can change anyone's life at no matter what age. And I think those two things will really, really help anyone trying to get on any sort of journey, whether you're trying to put on weight, trying to lose weight. So you do those two things, it'll really, really help your journey. And most importantly, understand your why and what you want to achieve, and don't compare yourself to anyone else. Because I think that will rob your journey. Personally, I've seen it time and time again.
Awesome, thank you. Amaji?
Others just stole the thing I was going to say right at the end. I think for me it's been really important to understand what your why is and why you're doing it. For you and maybe for your really close loved ones that are around you, right? That's really important, because if your why is not strong enough, even if you try and make that one small change that Kedar just talked about, you won't continue that small change every day for 12 months. So really, really understand that. And the last two things, when you're setting your goals, really take a step back, think about how they fit into your routine on a daily basis and what you can do consistently. And that goal doesn't have to be something you do every day. It could be something you do every other day. And the most important thing, sleep, right? I've learned that in the last 2 years. Sleep is really important. We say that sleep is important for our kids because that's when they rest, that's when they grow, and that's when their minds grow as well. The same applies for an adult, right? If you don't get enough sleep, your brain doesn't get enough rest, follow the techniques that Adarsh gave. No TV in your room and try and have a routine before you go to bed. I'm sure some of you must do this now with your child, right? You have a routine before you put them to bed, right? Follow the same routine and get that sleep. That's the most important thing. Get that sleep so you have the energy in the morning to do what you need to do. And that relates to that question where somebody asked, how do you get up at 5 a.m. in the morning? I didn't get up at 5 a.m., but how do you get up early in the morning in this day and weather? If you get sleep, you will get up. Yeah, you will naturally wake up in the morning.
Awesome.
One more thing I was going to say, Sumichi, is in particular for the men out there, because we're so awful at doing it, talk, man, just share. We're so bad as men in general, sharing our feelings. It's so bad. Like, find someone that you can share your feelings with. Ideally, another man, because sharing with another man will allow you to open up in a way that they can actually understand it and they can give you some feedback, right? That it's so important. It's so many of us are just sitting on this stuff and then you don't share it. And if you don't share it, it stays stuck. The longer it stays stuck, the deeper it goes. Get it out and start talking about it, right? Reach out to anyone, whether you've got local people to Shaka, work, whatever it is, someone you feel comfortable with, and just talk. It's
To
important.
add to that, check in on your mates,
Yeah.
right? Men are the worst people at doing this, right? They will never check in on their mates, right? That could be a WhatsApp message, it could be a phone call, right? It's hard for a person to open up. So I agree with Kedar, if you want, find someone to talk to. But as guys, check in on your mates. It's not that difficult at all. And they might open up to you. That I think that's really important as well.
Great, great points there. And yeah, if I just sort of chip in on a few of those as well, I put it on my Insta a couple of weeks ago. Like, if you don't tell your mates how you are, how will they know,
Mm.
right? But if you don't ask your mates how they are, how will you know? So you have to do that, right? And I think I agree and echo with a lot of what's said. Just want to cover off one of the questions on here as well. Where does spiritual practice come into this? Can anyone answer that in 1 minute? How have you used spirituality?
I think
It's
What does
okay if you can't.
spirituality mean? I mean, spirituality
Yeah,
is
okay,
unique to everyone, though, right? So
fine.
your spiritual practice can be going to the gym, but I mean, personally, I find coming home and finding that quiet space and kind of seeing what's happened during the day has been quite a big change in my life. Just finding that quiet time for myself, regardless of the gym and all of that, whatever it is, just sit and see, okay, well, what happened today? What went well? What didn't go so well? And how am I feeling about life in general? Just checking in with myself.
Sure.
That is my spiritual practice.
Awesome, thank you. So look, like we've spoken about lots today, probably not had enough time to go through it. There may be more questions, please feedback. And towards the end, we're talking about checking on your mates, ask them how they're doing, making sure you're mentally good. But as men, share. This is why this forum exists, and Sanjay will share a few words in a minute. If you just found that out now. But this is why we're doing this. This is about Purush Manas, right? We are, man in its spiritual form, trying to make sense of this crazy life. And today's session was about the physical fitness. Tune into the other couple of sessions to see what else we've spoken about. And if there's a topic you think we should cover, drop it in, put it in the Yuva group or let your Karivar know or let someone know. Reach out to your friends. Lots of support facilities out there, but I also know what it's like to think I don't want to do that, man. Like there's ego involved, and what will they think of me, and all that kind of stuff. Look, this stuff happens. This is why this forum exists, and we can tune into the spirituality of the bhakti or do some Surya Namaskars. We could talk about this for a long, long time. But just want to thank everyone for tuning in. Thank you to the panelists as well for joining. I'll drop the link in again if anyone doesn't have it.
I
But
think
that's
Amit
it
you just
from
mentioned on the chat. Anyways,
go
look,
on.
we're here too. I'll offer myself up to any of us. If you guys feel
Perfect.
like there's not someone that you can talk to, we're all here. The
Mm.
three of us are on the chat. I mean, Adarsh, I'm just chucking you in.
Yeah, no, I'm here, mate.
But I mean, feel free. We're here. So if you feel like there's something that you want to kind of know more about us, or you just need someone to talk to, we're here, right? So you can reach out to us by all means.
Awesome. Thank you. And if you want to catch this recording, you'll see it on the link that I posted. Sanjay ji, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, men, mind today, Purush Manas. It's another deep topic, a very difficult topic for some, but it's a way to control yourself, to get yourself out of a mental state, using fitness as a way to do it. Well, three individuals have done that in many, many ways, and some have actually made a career out of it as well. Um, they have a lot to offer, and maybe there's questions that may arise a little bit later on. If you want to contact myself or to Sumit ji, we can put you in touch with these guys. May I ask Amit, Adarsh, and Kedar if there's any tips that you may want to give? We can add it later to the links that we have on HSS Yuva. So if you want to add anything to that, we can do it later on, and everybody can have a look at it later on. Well, thank you again, and hopefully we'll see you in a couple of months, or if not earlier, on the next session for Men Mind Today. Thank you.